Yeah. Wow. So then, have you seen? I guess when it comes to religion or secret societies, have you seen that there may be an initiation, or if is it easier to hypnotize a child? Let's say. And so, well, neat. And so Sharon just asked, is there a percentage of people that are not susceptible to hypnosis? And then like I just love looking out the window. I've done it since I was a kid at school. And so I don't, before even screens were around, I just like looking out the window. And I think it's much more difficult to probably hypnotize somebody that's not paying attention or has attention deficit disorder or hyperactivity even. And um, yeah, I don't think that I can be as easily hypnotized because I often am looking out. I'd rather be out in nature, even if I'm working or at a fucking safety meeting or whatever crap they want to program. Have you found that possibly people with ADHD or ADD wouldn't be as easy to hypnotize? And maybe even if they give them, like for instance, at rave parties, we can all tell that there's, or if you've ever been to one, people using what they call MDMA has methamphetamines mixed in it. Like these Hell's Angels fucking goons should get their teeth knocked out. And whoever's running Shambhala rave party, I think that there's a hypnotic aspect of these rave parties and the flashy lights and colors and drugs. Could they then be giving people with ADD symptoms, giving them methamphetamines, or what is would that then increase their ability to be hypnotized? And so Sharon's asking about fear, and how does that play into the hypnosis? Yep. And then I was just thinking about too, I've been practicing, or like, I guess it's been like for the past dozen years. I remember it was this girlfriend I had, and she's like, she asked if I watch porn, and I said yes. I'm honest about things, and she told me how her ex had an awful problem with it, and she didn't like it, and I was like, yeah, I love you. I'm not going to use porn anymore. And it really did change my life for the better. And I then started recognizing how many people are addicted to it. And I guess the infidelity or the lack of appreciation to their significant other, because they're essentially selling off their sacred energy to some skanky porn stars. And then even just the lust within Hollywood. And you think that people, let's say, that are what jerk offs are easier to hypnotize. Oh yeah, and like I've been going to the gym lately, and some of these women, it's just they leave nothing up to the imagination. They've got like, and it's like I think that they are. Whether if you're biblical, it's like, well, how many Jezebels are going to the gym? But anyways, yeah, there is like they're possibly using some of that unknowing to themselves. They may be trying to hypnotize men to gawk at them, and they're looking for attention. And then on the other aspect, yeah, men with more money and power, or muscles, yeah, women love that stuff. So I guess what, like, that's like in a way human nature and whatnot. But I guess getting back to it, I was thinking about a lot about is semen retention, that I think a lot more men should be possibly practicing this and not being jerk offs, and not because that, I think that's a huge tool that the elitists have employed, is to use hypersexuality to hypnotize people and to drain their energy. So if they've got this leaky spirit where, like, and my ex, actually, before the one that didn't want me to watch porn, that previous girlfriend, she didn't want me to ever look at any, like, I used to always do this when I at the at the restaurant. I would ask the waitress, well, what's your favorite on the menu? Or if the special sounded good, I'm getting the special. I love good deals. But then otherwise, I'd ask, what's her favorite on the menu? And my ex-girlfriend would just get furious about this. You're flirting with her. And I'm like, I'm just wanting to get her opinion about what's the best on the menu. I think there is something good, or not something. It's definitely good to just be focused on the woman that you love. How much do you think that with this hypersexual culture, or even like polyamory that's being promoted now, could that, I guess the same as what you just explained, fear is used to program people? Could hypersexuality be damn near as powerful to hypnotize people? Oh yeah, well, and I've noticed so many benefits from, I guess, even go regardless of semen retention and like the amount of fucking pull-ups or the amount of focus and the amount of your sacred energy or your spiritual power that you now have. You're not just a jerk off anymore. But then when it comes to, I guess, monogamous relationships, I think that there is a very harmonious balance between masculine and feminine that comes together. And it's very difficult, I figure, to be able to hypnotize a strong family that comes together and works together. And the man and the women are raising their own children and sticking together versus single people with different religions and all this crap, and you throw them all into a school and amalgamate them to, anyways, that melting pot of single people that don't have a family, a community, and that be a huge factor about the hypnotism, divide and conquer. I was just I was just thinking about narcissistic abusers when you were mentioning that isolation technique. So if it's one narcissist that wants to divide and conquer, they'll use what they call flying monkeys and go and gossip to this guy. Oh, he said this about you. She did that, and blah blah blah. And then that's triangulation, where now the one narcissist is dividing and conquering and getting everybody feuding against each other, and once they turn the flying monkeys on each other, then it's very easy for that narcissist to profit. And I think that's exactly what happens within the church structure, and especially within Muslims, Catholics, fucking Jews, and Jesuits, and Freemasons, and Rosicrucians. And I think there's a whole bunch of witches and warlocks at the top of all of those organizations that profit from divide and conquer and hypnotism. And I think that the Swiss, they invented the the watch or the stopwatch. Those fucking Swiss are probably to blame for the amount of time we've been hypnotized, eh? Well, and is there possibly, like, I guess, like a repetition? So like we like I was mentioning the rave parties with like the lights and the bass and like the repetition. They even call it a psy trance form of music, or drum and bass. So just like the ticking of the clock, could this psy trance, drum and bass, or even just the music, and especially the audio that is beyond our range of even, have you looked into the different frequencies that can be either audibly detected or beyond our range of audio? How does that work? Well, and I was just thinking that that self hypnosis technique, and everybody being aware of, I guess, good and bad, and living in a messy house is bad. Having a bunch of vices or addictions is bad. So if you're able to okay, if you're able to recognize, yeah, I'm smoking too much coffee, my house is a mess, I'm sleeping around with too many women, or I'm not attracting love. I guess what would you call that? It would just be balance and being, I guess, well-to-do person. But if you're wanting to self hypnotize yourself against some of the bad traits that a lot of us will, life's a balance, and I've actually done that before where I quit. I like that. A couple times a year, I want to quit smoking and quit weed for 1 or 2 months. I'll decide, and I'll literally self hypnotize myself. I'll be like, it'll just be like the day that I quit, I'll just be like, that's it. And I'll just keep telling myself, air is free, breathe in free air, exhale. Smoking is not good if it's too much, or cigarettes overall aren't good. What do you think about that? Have you taught people to, or what do you think about the hypnosis to quit smoking? I was just thinking, so I just put this comfrey salve on. So yeah, if your third eye, if you this stuff, and especially with a little bit of castor oil, it's good to pull the toxins out. Could it be that if you're now poisoned, whether it's poison with too much addictions or vice, or maybe they're even spraying chemicals in the air and adding chlorine to the water and a bunch of polysorbate 80 or citric acid into your food, could people that are filled with toxins and they're dumbed down, could dumb people be easier to? I've actually looked into apparently super smart people are almost easier to hypnotize, but could. Yep. I was just thinking about like the power of that all addictions, or I guess habits that can become addictive or not good for us. Yeah, willpower and controlling yourself. I think that the usually when I make that, oh, I'm going to quit for a month or I'm going to quit for 2 months, when it's coming to the end of the month or the end of the 2 months, I'm getting excited. Like, yeah, I'm going to roll up a spliff. This is going to be great. But that didn't happen this time. I'm now on like 4 months without smoking tobacco or weed and booze. It's been like 5 months I've been off that. And I think that as much as people will be like, hey, Steve, don't talk about this semen retention. I swear that the more people realize that the power of semen retention, you're now, if you're able to control your sexual urges, which is how we all got here, whether you want to like it or not, like peekaboo, and now you're here. like, so literally, um, I think that more people should, men should really be looking into this, and especially then think about how many men will be essentially hypnotized by their woman that will control them, like with sex. But anyways, yeah, if you can control your sexual nature, you can control your physical environment to better. I think, yeah, more people need to think about that. And then Sharon was asking about this comfrey salve. This is Blue Lotus Botanicals. And the best company I've found, they've got a calendula salve that's just incredible too. Oh, and then not only just semen retention, but I guess sleeping around like I did a little bit when I was younger and got in trouble just from women would get pissed off when you don't want to be with them. And I started to really feel bad about that and stopped doing it. But I think, yeah, I think that when you don't go out to the night drinking. Yeah, as soon as you let into one inhibition and you're drunk, like most people that get into relationships, oh, I met her at the bar drunk, and then we broke up months or years or after how many children. And maybe that alcohol alcohol is probably a substance that you could be easily fooled under. Yeah, well, and I was just thinking about then like the pelvic floor muscles. Like a lot of people are maybe don't have enough sex, or if they are, they're not real. So I guess there's exercises that you can do, like that feeling if you got to piss really bad. Now you've got to hold it in, or if you got to shit, that's the other end of the pelvic floor muscles. If you, okay, I'm not saying, oh, never fucking get a hard on or the devil's going to get you. But instead of jerking off, if you actually do pelvic floor exercises, or if you're going to go to the gym and do some, like, sometimes you can actually do those pelvic floor exercises as you're working on other muscle groups as well, and breathing. And it's like, I think that the more you're, when you're exercising and focusing on different muscle groups, it's similar to, I guess, the way that they get the yogis to like, oh, just focus and feel tips of your toes and do like, but it's actually a more tangible muscle exercising that if people haven't used those muscles, they might not be fully aware. And then the blockages, for instance, or the lack of confidence, and next thing you know, they're just yeah. It's interesting that the more I started doing this, and then I just found some channels on YouTube, and I'm like, holy fuck! Like these, the guys that are sharing some of the information about this are far and above sharing higher level information. Maybe they're a little bit talking too much specifically about that, but whatever. I think it is a subject that there would be a lot less people fucking hypnotized if they weren't so much hypersexuality in society. And then I think going back to the what I was talking about family or just even monogamous couples, very difficult to actually hypnotize a man that or a woman to be hypnotized if there's like a team, a family coming together. That way, if there's one narcissistic abuser or one religion that's bullshit, either if it's the woman or the man or the child that's getting pulled one way or the other, as a cohesive unit, they can all look out for each other. And same with like the extended family, the community. And that's what I really admire about the East Indians. And as much as I don't like arranged marriages, or even that they're buying up all the gas stations and farmlands in Canada, I admire that a heck of a lot. How these arranged marriages and their families are fucking tightly functioning, cohesive units, and they all seem to be on average happier than Western folks that can't afford farmland. And so then have you ever had anyone come to you like for instance, I'll meet some women, especially women, they'll have nightmares, reoccurring dreams, or like intrusive thoughts. Have you ever had somebody come to you and saying, I'm having this reoccurring like what, like, give me an example, I guess, of people that reach out to you for their services, your services. No, that's very good. It's very when you were thinking about that, the Amanita muscaria, that red and white Christmas mushroom, kind of popped up into my when you're talking about past life. Like I remember when I found that mushroom and was reading all about. I was a little scared. Like they say it's poisonous, but I kept reading and thinking and talked to this one older friend that told me he's like, yeah, that's actually a very powerful mushroom, traditionally used to bring up and remedy or heal ancestral trauma. And it's called like the fly agaric or the dream mushroom. Like it gives you power in the dream world. And I was just like, wow, I've got like this mugwort tea. You can find the mugwort. It's a sage variety down at the beach. And I'd have my mugwort tea and burning those moxa sticks that you get at the Chinese medicine. And that moxa, I was recovering from knee surgery, and just the moxa sticks would be heating up my knee and making that feel better. Some warming tea and some cheese eggs with the mushrooms. And it changed my life. I think that more people should become familiar with this mushroom or even lots of medicinal mushrooms. And I would like to kind of dispel some of the myths around it. No, it's not poisonous, or the way I used it. And it really did help. And the more I've been reading about the vagus nerve and these neurotransmitters that are predominantly used by the vagus nerve, so there's the acetylcholine is the what is it called? The not amino acid. It's a neurotransmitter that's made from the amino acids. The acetylcholine, there's two different receptors in the brain, the muscarinic receptors and the nicotinic acid receptors. So that's the Amanita muscaria and the nicotine are what the substances that they were using the tests when they were, I don't know how they were using an ECG or however they were testing the brain, but very powerful. I find that if there is a connection between the vagus nerve and like the pelvic floor in the brain, if you have blockages and if you, let's say, don't maybe have access to herbs that can help stimulate that neurological, it's almost like I think a lot of people through trauma, through toxicity, through whatever, it's there's massive amounts of blockages in the system. It's almost like I was just talking my last slide. Say it again. Millions. Yeah, I was going to relate it. Like I was just talking last live stream about like this fractal hard earth theory, or like that we are the microcosm of the greater macrocosm universe or source. And if you think about like dams on the rivers blocking, or even like cities or big like culminations that maybe are similar to like cancer in our body, cysts, it's almost like if you have a cancer cyst or a block in one of those energy meridians, um, sometimes maybe they'll say tobacco causes cancer, but maybe pure tobacco, and the way I use it, could be medicinal to help relieve some of these blockages. Maybe Amanita muscaria can also help the flow of these things. And as well, the sacred plant medicines that are used responsibly. Now, this is a question for you. With the shamanism and this popularity, especially since Terrence McKenna's YouTube videos started taking off, Jan Irvin and Joe Rogan were all promoting these, and DMT. Could these plant medicines be promoted in a fad type of money making and furthering the hypnosis? Have you seen it almost like the plant medicine take off like a wildfire cult, and shamans down in the, how much money are they making, and how much could these shamans be hypnotizing people? Yeah, it made me think of Dr. Jerry Tennant. I found like 10 years. He was a brain or a neurosurgeon that got cancer himself and then started doing electric testing on the muscles in the different area. He, exactly what you were saying about testing with the voltmeter. And he was specifically showing that a lot of people with this acid reflux disease, they actually don't even have the voltage like available to close their esophagus. What's that, aorta, or what are the? Anyways, a lot of these people low electricity, and so if you think about like a battery, a lead acid battery, if you think of the stomach acid as being, you want it very acidic, break down your nutrients so then you can absorb more of the alkaline elements. So now your body is going to be alkaline, your stomach acidic, and you're going to have exactly, don't use that crap. And then when it comes to then losing voltage or and not having the resistance, not having that alkalinity, yeah, so instead of becoming a slave to addictions, this is homegrown tobacco. This is a Palo Santo, a tree from the jungle. This is the sap from that Palo Santo, or I go get just pine sap, larch pitch. And anytime I'm hiking or out in the forest, I'll always, or not always, but I'll usually bring a bit of tobacco, have some pitch, and the tree saps. Very powerful medicine. And then this bay leaves. This actually is like bay leaves are one of the most powerful antifungal. And candida overgrowth is a huge problem where people are eating too much sugar, and the candida is actually beneficial. It's in everybody's body. I consider that like, you know how they say in the Bible, Jesus in you, Jesus in me, or whatever, or in everything. There was a Sacred Mushroom and the Cross, a book written by John Allegro, and it's almost like that Amanita muscaria. Um, there's a lot of Christmas mushroom symbolism, and if you think about like that Trinity, it's almost like Mother Earth and the mycelium network that runs through the soil, fruiting Jesus' body, and then the spores that shoot out that are like the Heavenly Father or the Holy Spirit. And so there is a mushroom cycle. And if you kind of think about mushrooms and water, it's almost like the water gives you life. The mushrooms will either give you life if you're responsible and living in harmony with nature and grounded to Mother, or it'll take you out. So you can think about mushrooms almost being like the devil, or even Jesus. Could Jesus be symbolic of Lucifer and Jesus, or the devil? Like, anyway, you definitely don't want to get candida overgrowth because it will leach your energy and your ability to actually digest the sugars into the glucose to feed you energy and brain power versus feeding cancer, which may there was studies Simoncini, an Italian doctor, that was correlating candida overgrowth with some possible, like, on YouTube they'll just ban this already, medical disinformation. I'm not an expert, I'm not a medical doctor. Grow your own tobacco, use it as you like, but anyways, I'm not sure. What's your opinion? Do you think that yeah, cancer, I guess, could be stealing people's energy? They probably would test much lower on that electrical. What was it? Was it muscle testing or actually testing from the? Can you explain that process? Well, I think grounding is real. Like, I actually even just took off my sock and put it, even though I'm not outside, even just having my foot bare on the floor, and the grounding is a huge one. And you can actually take the voltmeter and test the difference of putting it to ground from your hand and where you're wearing your tennis shoes or whatever, and you're going to have the voltage reading changes whether you're touching ground barefoot or you've got rubber shoes on your sole. An interesting connection with the soles of our shoes, and the souls are spiritual. Yeah, I think and so then Dale is just mentioning that etheric body, um, and yeah, the atmosphere is the atmosphere of mind for that individual being too. And so that etheric energy is not going to, there's going to be a blockage if you got your rubber boots on all the time. Yeah, yeah, these rubber mats that they're all doing their yoga on. Yeah, cotton. Cotton is way nicer, or wool. And then I think so many people are using this polyester, and not good, especially when they're mixing in all types of, even with the cotton these days, the different dyes, and however they're growing it with the glyphosate sprayed on everything. Yeah, poisoned so many different ways. And then like I was reading a bunch about Gore-Tex, like the waterproof jackets. It's like, I don't know. It's nice. Those Gore-Tex jackets do actually keep you dry, but you definitely don't want it touching your skin. Yeah, well, there's actually in the Leviticus, I think it is warning against wearing clothes, mixed linens. So, and then yeah, just using natural linen, cotton, wool is much better. And yeah, because the natural charges of I gotta try this. I've been wanting to do this for a while, but there was a story out of the Georgian Highlands of the golden fleece of these ancient gold miners putting wool into the riverbeds uh, in the springtime before runoff. And then the wool, I guess, has an electrostatic attraction to the gold. And then it was, instead of, panning for gold randomly in the creek, you then just shake out your wool blanket and you got a lot more gold that sticks to the wool blanket. So I'd like to try that. If a woman ever does want to get married to me, I'm not going to be buying. I'll go. We're going gold panning together. Let's go, sweetie. So that's I don't know, hypnotism. We actually is there. I bet you got a bunch of different subject. If there's any other things you want to point out about hypnotism, and then randomly pick some topics that you are interested in and want to share about. That's why I was that's why I was really encouraging the I guess form of self hypnosis, but in reality, it's just balancing, being balanced. Like I mean, the Christians will like this, the cross, and be balanced and heart centered. But yeah, so addictions, vices, sloppy behavior, or leaky energy. You don't want to be a jerk off. You don't want to be addicted to vices. And then I guess with other people's energy, I tend to really enjoy clearing the air with burning the Palo Santo or the bay leaves or sage. And it's all of these things that the old folklore scares off demons or parasites. They're also antifungal, antibacterial. So whether it's sage or mugwort or the silver bullet with colloidal silver, some people warn that it's going to feed nano robots. That's all bullshit. And but anyways, yeah, if you use the plant medicines responsibly, it can actually protect you from having parasitic and fungal overgrowth, because small intestinal bacteria overgrowth, and then this H. pylori is a bacteria that is like wreaking havoc on people. And it almost seems like the uh, probably a big mistake for us to allow the same chemical corporations that were in charge of the mustard gas now being in charge of cancer treatments. And then now they're putting chlorine in our water, and now they're putting polysorbate 80 into our food and glyphosate. So if the glyphosate actually is similar in composition to glycine, an amino acid that is very essential for. Now this glyphosate can fucking rip holes in, and our bodies are trying to digest the glyphosate, opening up holes in our gut. Now this H. pylori, all these different bacterias and candida overgrowth, and giardia, beaver fever, or the toxoplasma gondii, or whatever different Lyme disease they'll say is going, like all these viruses they want to boogie woogie us about. But bacteria and fungus, probiotics are good. The bad bacteria, sometimes that's why it's great to go get the organic bay leaves and chew on some of those. I love actually mixing it with the ginger chews, or those chimes. The ginger chews are great with the. But it's interesting. I haven't actually had a tobacco chew for. It's been like, I think like a month since I even had. So I got like a head buzz or a body buzz from just a little bit. But instead of chomping and chewing it all up, I just kind of put it in the corner of my mouth, and it. I think that when you do look into the the body's need for nicotinic acid, vitamin B3, gives you energy and as well anti-parasitic. And then with that balance in our stomach, yes, we do need probiotics. And so taking colloidal silver and swallowing it, probably not a good idea if you're healthy or whatever. But if you're feeling a tickle in your throat, that's why, like, it was about 20 years ago I figured that out, is take a little a cap of it and frickin' swish it around your mouth, gargle, spit it out. You don't get. And then I'd take oil of oregano or other herbs, and peppermint tea and ginger, and these things will kill the what people consider viruses, cold and flu. I don't get that anymore. So like the last time I was sick was freaking 4 years ago. And it's because I was run down with poverty and death threats and lack of sleep. Anybody that's not getting proper sleep can become susceptible to not only parasites, bacteria, and fungus taking them over, but once again, with hypnotism, you lose sleep. Very easy for somebody to keep you in fear and to scare you more. And now instead of sleeping, your immune system's low. How much do you think that, I guess, lack of sleep, it's probably easier to hypnotize somebody that hasn't slept? And that reminds me of some of these those self-help conferences that maybe even Wayne Dyer used to go to with Oprah and the John of God gang or whatever. And it's like, what is this, a full day ceremony or a full day fucking a 12-hour event? And by the end of it, people are tired. And now TikTok, hypnotism, and Wayne Dyer, he really does share some interesting information, but that's another aspect to the secret societies. And not only their hypnotism, but their exponential influence over society. if they can play one character, can play multiple influential characters throughout society. So, like, I'm very good with voice recognition. If anybody can prove to me that Wayne Dyer is a different guy than the announcers for the Seattle Supersonics, prove me wrong. That's the same fucking voice and the same mannerisms of expression and everything. So is Wayne Dyer actually dead? I don't know. But like I've pinpointed so many different Hollywood actors or that can play spiritual leaders like Ram Dass. I wonder if somebody at Ashram is reading Ram Dass for a bedtime story right now, and maybe the gurus got him under a spell. Well, and that's another aspect. I actually figured this out when they forced me into the mental hospital. I was already reading a lot about parasites and the Toxoplasma gondii, the way that it would create women to actually increase their intelligence, hypersexuality, and pheromones to make them seem more attractive and have bigger, shinier eyes that would lure the men. And I started thinking about when they put, like, for no reason too. I was just calling the police, calling the authorities, reporting chemtrails, and asking these authorities to stop. I don't consent to geoengineering experiments. I wanted this stopped. Instead of the mayor and politicians and any of the police going to open investigations, I even gave them the guilty parties. I'm like, yeah, BC Hydro, the insurance companies out in Alberta for hail suppression. These companies are spraying poisons. I don't consent to it. I want it stopped. Instead, they come and taser me and throw me in a. And I was even complying with them, and they fucking just tasered me because they're jerks. And I was asking them if they're Freemasons, and they didn't like that either. Now I'm in a padded room, and I'm sitting there pondering, like, wow, there's some like, is it demons or parasites? What's controlling Earth? And I started thinking about what would cause schizophrenic or crazy people to smear shit on the walls. I'd heard stories of this and was just thinking about this padded room, and I'm like, they're spreading parasites because now the shit is where the parasite eggs are. And I started then thinking about the correlation with this trans and gay rights and pride festivals everywhere. And I was thinking, man, maybe that this homosexuality, and I've got homosexual friends that a lot of them sleep around and have substance abuse issues and psychiatric issues that were very apparent to me. Could they possibly be under a form of kind of hypnosis from microorganisms? It's spreading through hypersexual behavior and specifically the. What I've really loved is people will say, "Oh, TikTok, like, well, it's just a freaking Chinese spy app." But what I'm recognizing is since I joined TikTok, and I especially avoided the if you like stupid information or whatever, I used to have beautiful women that would join my show or whatever. I used to bang on my bongo drum. Let's get a dancer on the show. She looks like a dancer. And then I'd be supportive of my new friend and like her. But then I'd get filled with a bunch of crap videos of dancing nurses or stupid shit. And I'm just like, whoa. So I totally redid the algorithm by just only liking medical and people sharing valuable herbal and wisdom. And what I've really been loving is a lot of these different Pilates exercises, and then the people sharing the different lymphatic drainage exercises. So instead of just going and signing up at a yoga class or going even to sign up for Pilates, or I learn a lot from just these people on TikTok and basically being my own, coming up with some neat, yeah, if you're doing the breathing exercises, stretching, the lymphatic drainage techniques, like there's a lot of stress that people can, like the furrows of worry. Bill Jones, Bill Hicks would talk about. Life's a ride. It's like a, and then you see the scary clowns show up, and you'll have the furrows of worry. And I was there for a while, and you do this like this clearing. Do you have some lymphatic drainage techniques that you do, or like when you're doing that? Even the base of the skull, so nice to just massage and release some of that and get your, yeah, I guess it's the channels of your body flowing and eliminating the blockages. And then I got to get that root canal taken care of, because once you have a root canal, it's like a direct access point for, there's these bacterias in your mouth. What, I forget the name of it, but it can then go directly in. And they studies saw that 97% of cancer patients had root canals. Um, and then as far as like sleep, for instance, And so I guess that's similar to the positive affirmations and I guess like mantras, but I guess yeah, it's what was the name you called it? Yep. And and then I guess there's a whole lot of different herbs that will also help with the lymphatic drainage, like mullein, for instance. Um, and that's what I love to do is I used to smoke a lot of spliffs, hash, and tobacco, and then I'd roll up the mullein and use it as a filter, and then smoke it to the bone and get a couple puffs of the mullein to finish it off. But I think that since becoming more balanced, um, I don't, instead of getting angry and let's say like reacting and responding to everybody that's got a problem with me, I'm much more just calm. Like it might not seem like it to the viewers that are like Steve's high energy, but like I used to be wild, like ready to like go to war against Hell's Angels. And like for a while, I wanted to start up my own real classy boudoir dance clubs. That's how I kept on banging on the bongo drum. Let's get some dancers because the women shouldn't be taking off all their clothes and everything up to the, and then a bunch of pimps and gangsters profiting off of their exposure of their sacred energy. But is that a wise decision to to compete against the Hell's Angels? Maybe not. So my friend's asking about Reiki. Do you know much about it? Yep. And so Dale's saying growth inevitably requires pain. Refusal to grow also inevitably results in suffering to a different form of pain. Thus, pain is inevitable, so one must learn to transcend and alchemize all forms of pain. Negativity positively. So yeah, that ebb and flow, peaks and valleys. And I mean, instead of somebody that, let's say, is having a manic episode, and concerned family members are like, send them to the medical experts. I found that if I'm getting stressed out and somebody is accusing me of, oh, you're too angry and getting maybe manic, I'll take a higher dose of the valerian root tincture or make tea. Valerian root is so calming, increases your sleep, and as well, there was times where I'd heat up some hash with some sesame or sunflower seeds and honey, and have a little my own little have a little eating, because that's what I find is smoking tobacco or smoking hash or these, too much of that can ruin your lungs, and eating it is a lot, for me anyways, more medicinal, calming, and I get some sleep and wake up and I'm not horking a loogie and feeling is run down. um, Yep. And it made me think about my ex-girlfriend was an Olympic athlete, and I felt like she was just possessed for success and being the best. And she even admitted that she had like a bit of like an egotistic, like she was the stress. I would massage her and like these nodules of it was crazy how much tension she would hold. And when I was able to, I guess, massage, and we'd massage each other, and I guess I could even convince her, like, maybe you're pushing yourself or your coaches are pushing you too hard. Um, Massage, I think, is a uh, okay. Yeah, yeah, go ahead. Keep going about the pain, but I think that massage whether it's lymphatic drainage, self massage, or massaging each other. And then, I mean, if you're now got to go and pay $100 an hour for a masseuse therapist versus having a loving relationship and a beautiful woman and you guys can massage each other, that's going to be a lot more of what do you call it, symbiotic healing versus too much money spent on the whole healing. I don't know. Massage is probably a real good technique that a lot of people maybe not getting enough of, eh? And that I was just thinking about the chiropractor. I've only seen a chiropractor twice after my knee surgery. I was having real bad lower back and I guess hip and knee. He put me into the fetal position and with his knee on my lower back on the one side and my knee, other knee, he did this little fetal position knee pull trick on me. And because I used to do a self adjustment where I twist on my chair and pop and release that tension myself. But with an expert chiropractor, I think chiropractor, if we are in Canada roped into this socialist medical system, I think chiropractor and massage and Chinese medicine and herbalists should be covered and big pharma punted out because the amount of damage big pharma and the allopathic system is causing versus the benefits, and that's all subsidized by taxpayers. Have you gotten chiropractor adjustments? Yeah. Well, and you know what? The biggest struggle with recovering from my knee surgery, that was my second knee surgery, is they had titanium staples that they left in from my first ACL surgery. So then I went in for a third knee surgery, got those titanium staples taken out, pain was gone. And after I saw the chiropractor, he'd given me a whole bunch of exercises, core strengthening, and as well. I think a lot of people, not only core strengthening, but posture. I always like to work on my posture and make sure, because there's chiropractors that are showing the connection of somebody hunched forward is instantly going to break that meridian flow of healthy chi energy, whatever you want to call it, and you're now in a pain hunched over position. And so just simply posture and working on core strength. So I think a lot of people with lower back pain or whatever pain, you get a slack line and go and work on your balance and all of those core muscles stabilizing and shadow boxing on the slack line. Very beneficial to eliminate pain, because yeah, I used to and I think that that was a big problem too, is that I was a maintenance electrician for too long, and we some days wouldn't have work orders and would sit in the truck all day just researching and talking about conspiracy theories. And if you're sitting around too much sitting, and that's stagnation, and you're going to develop a weak core abdominal area and back pain as a result of sitting too much. Yep. So yeah, well, this is awesome, Dale. I always love. I'm gonna hopefully get Dale on for an interview soon. Oh, okay, that's Tyra. Yeah, I think yeah, it's been a while, Tyra. We'll have to get a chat. Don't worry. Anger is something that I definitely dealt with a heck of a lot, and I'll share a video. Yeah. Well, and I think I was just thinking about people with pain, chronic pain. Pain will induce anger, and so use it like I just love this company, best brand, Blue Lotus Botanicals, but Comfrey. I grow it myself. It's so yeah, I love this company. Well, because their calendula salve just like healed. I thought I was going to have to go to the hospital. I gashed my shin so bad. I almost like broke my, it was like such a deep bone injury and wound. But it got infected and I was worried about it. But yeah, with the combination of colloidal silver, calendula salve, and I guess even just the positive thought technique. And then what I've really enjoyed is with castor oil that Barbara O'Neill really has a lot of great information. The castor oil packs, but even the medicine, this comfrey, you put it on your belly button, and whatever different topical medicines, if you put it on the sore spot, but then on your belly button as well. And I was even reading about like birthing, natural birth, that women putting hash oil on their belly button can relieve the pain of the pregnancy delivery. And yeah, I think that if if more people were becoming their own healers, like Dale was recommending, it really does. When you have an awareness about all of the different herbs and appreciation, and you forage them yourself, now you're not spending all this money to go and buy them. It's very oh, thanks, Jerry Lee. Yeah, and Jerry Lee gave me some. She gave me some turkey tails. I was going to put them in my coffee, but thanks, buddy. These turkey tails are amazing. She gave me. Yeah, it's always great. Then I make medicine and bring them for my friends, and they hook me up with some good medicines. And yeah, that's what I gave with the fire cider. Wow, is that a huge benefit for pain relief too? Is you're just mixing in like in a jar, you put the garlic, onions, all these different peppers and horseradish, and the um, um, the peppers. But then it was, man, I hurt my back. Um, it was crazy. I actually hurt my back, and then because I just did like this huge full cord of firewood, and I was just like, holy man, hurt my back, and was working outside all day in the sleet and snow, and felt a tickle in my throat. I actually took all of the different, it was like pickled onions and pickled garlic and pickled peppers. And I just ate like half a jar of it, and then rubbed the freaking fire cider on my sore back, and rubbed the comfrey salve on my back. The pain, oh, and that was the beauty, is I have a wood stove, and sat in front of the wood stove with the heat of the wood stove on my back. Oh, relief. So yeah, if you got chronic pain, that can cause a lot of anger for me. Anyways, I'm just like, oh. And posture, though, is a huge one, and it's interesting. I even sometimes an injury can be a blessing. I always usually have a lot of tension from this knot in my shoulder, and it'll come and give me tension in this nodule joining the right side of my skull there. I tried a double backflip at the pool 2 weeks ago, and didn't make it all the way around, and like smacked down with like my head and neck on the, but it was just like so amazing because it stretched out like this side of my spine, and I almost just sat there like thinking like, wow, that kind of like hurt slightly in the moment, but as I'm just it was like a self an accidental chiropractor adjustment I did on myself. My neck pain is gone. I'm feeling great lately. So that benefited. Um, yeah, do you make some of your own medicines, or what? Yeah, it's interesting. I notice you got the big goatee and the longer hair. Do you find that the Native Americans will say the hair is like an antenna? And do you find that when you cut your hair, when you trim your beard or your hair, you almost can feel like shit? I just hacked off part of my antenna. Yeah, yeah, and as much as sometimes I bang on the old native drum, and I'm like native, just because they got darker skin than me doesn't mean they have a monopoly on native herb. Like some of these natives around here will be like, white people shouldn't be harvesting herbs and mushrooms, and it's only for us Native Americans. And there's like an UNDRIP United Nations thing where they're trying to steal the land from everybody else, and we now have to pay a fee for a native elder to come and dig for arrowheads before we put in a septic field. And it's like, give me a break. We're all natives of earth here. But and then as well, I don't actually like the nomadic hunter gatherer. It's a risky lifestyle, and I think that there's a lot of cause for wars based on migration routes changing. However, the spiritual aspect of having to survive in nature and needing that spiritual antenna to be able to go and find and forage for the wild herbs and to know where which direction, which way is the wind blowing. I got to send my smoke signal this way and go catch the animals that way. There is a spiritual aspect to that I very much appreciate, and I am in um, good standing and always friendly with the native elders and do learn a lot from them. And Jerry Lee's one of them. High five, everybody. And then now getting back to Sharon. Oh, shoot. So this was a heck of a live stream. Unfortunately, my phone that we were doing the live stream just died. I'm going to charge up my phone and I'll be back. Thanks for watching, folks.